Welcome to this training on cloud identity and provisioning in Cloudera Data Platform. Today, we will focus on configuring an external identity provider, or IDP, to enable single sign-on and centralized user management. This is a critical step for securing your environment and streamlining user onboarding. Let's get started. First, let's understand the concept. Identity federation in CDP enables your users to access the Cloudera Management Console and other services using their corporate credentials, eliminating the need for separate Cloudera-specific passwords. This integration relies on SAML 2.0, an industry-standard protocol for exchanging authentication data. Whether you are using Azure Active Directory (Okta) or another compliant provider, Federation delegates the authentication responsibility to your IDP, ensuring that your corporate security policies, like multi-factor authentication, are enforced automatically. In this diagram, the user initiates a login request. Instead of authenticating directly with Cloudera, the request is redirected to your identity provider, represented here by the generic IDP icon. Once the user successfully authenticates with the IDP, a SAML token is passed back to Cloudera CDP, granting access. This trust relationship allows for seamless single sign-on. Configuring this connection is a handshake process. First, you download the service provider metadata from Cloudera, which contains essential connection details like the assertion consumer service URL. Next, you create a corresponding SAML application within your IDP, for example, in Azure AD or Okta using the entity ID and URL provided by Cloudera. Finally, you complete the circle by downloading the Federation metadata XML from your IDP and uploading it into the Cloudera Management Console. This exchange of metadata establishes the trust relationship between the two systems. This sequence diagram illustrates the configuration handshake. The administrator acts as the bridge. First, they retrieve metadata from Cloudera. They take this information to configure the identity provider. Then, they retrieve the IDP's metadata and upload it back to Cloudera. This bidirectional exchange of configuration files ensures both sides know how to encrypt and validate the SAML assertions. For Cloudera to recognize the user, you must map specific attributes in your IDP. When a user logs in, the SAML assertion must contain their details. Specifically, Cloudera looks for first name, last name, and email. Crucially, these claims often need to be namespaced correctly. For example, in Azure AD, you would define the claim name as https://cdp. Cloudera com/saml/attributes/first name mapping to the source attribute user. Given name. Without these specific mappings, the user account might be created with missing information or the login might fail. Here we see the structure of a valid SAML assertion for Cloudera. It acts as a data packet containing the user's identity. Inside, we have the name ID, which uniquely identifies the user, followed by the required namespaced attributes. First name, last name, and email. Ensuring these match the Cloudera requirements exactly is the most common troubleshooting step during setup. To manage authorization efficiently at scale, you should utilize group syncing. This allows you to assign permissions to a group in Cloudera, like data engineers, and have users automatically inherit those permissions based on their membership in your corporate directory. To enable this, you must configure a group's claim in your IDP. For instance, in Azure AD, you configure a group claim to return the security groups associated with the user. Ensuring the token includes this list when they authenticate. Follow the flow of a group sync. An Azure AD user logs in. The system checks their group memberships. If they belong to groups, these are packed into the SAML token as a group's claim containing the list, such as admins or devs. When this token reaches Cloudera, the sync process reads this list and maps the user to the corresponding CDP roles, effectively granting them the correct permissions. When do users actually appear in Cloudera? Typically, Cloudera supports just-in-time or JIT provisioning. This means the user record is created in the Cloudera Management Console the very first time they successfully log in via the IDP. You don't need to manually create every user beforehand. However, you must ensure the name ID format in your IDP is compatible, typically set to email address or a persistent identifier. This unique ID links the external identity to the internal Cloudera user record. This state diagram shows the JIT lifecycle. A new user starts by clicking the SSO link. They attempt to log in and are redirected to the IDP auth stage. Upon success, they return to Cloudera. Cloudera checks if the user exists. If not, the user not found path triggers the create account step automatically, populating details from the SAML attributes, leading to login success. Logging in is only half the battle. Users also need access to cloud data. This is where cloud identity meets provisioning. Cloudera uses a component called ID Broker to bridge this gap. You configure ID Broker mappings to link your federated Cloudera users or groups to actual cloud privileges. For example, you can map the Cloudera group data eng to a specific AWS IAM role or Azure Managed Identity. This ensures that when a user runs a job, they access S3 or ADLs with exactly the permissions you defined in your cloud provider, maintaining a secure chain of custody. Here we see the bridge between identity and infrastructure. On the left is the CDP user group data eng. They don't have direct AWS keys. Instead, they interact through the ID broker, highlighted in orange. The ID broker checks the mapping and assumes the corresponding AWS IAM role on their behalf. This role then grants access to the S3 bucket. This seamless translation protects your cloud credentials while enabling user access. To summarize, configuring an identity provider is essential for a secure, enterprise-grade Cloudera environment. Always use a SAML too. Zero compliant IDP. Pay close attention to your attribute mappings and namespaces, as these are the most common configuration errors. Lean heavily on group sync to manage permissions efficiently, avoiding the administrative burden of individual user management. Finally, remember to complete the loop by verifying your ID broker mappings, ensuring your newly onboarded users can securely access the cloud data they need. This final checklist encapsulates our best practices. Ensure you have a SAML too. Zero IDP, correct attribute namespaces, active group sync, and valid ID broker mappings. When all four components point to secure, as shown by the checkmark, your identity and provisioning foundation is solid.
Welcome to quicktechie.com. So just type in quicktechie.com here. Then you can go through the material which is provided by quicktechie. So we have first of all video courses which you can go here and you can find the various video courses across the technologies as well as finance domain. So if you see in Microsoft, we have 8 programs currently running. Next, you can go through the ebooks available. So all the ebooks which are in PDF format today, and you can download this. So let me go through Microsoft certification ebooks. You can click on any of this and you can see this is the PDF available for you to download. So these are the premium ebook mostly available on quicktechie.com platform only. Now the second part is exam simulator. As we primarily focus on the all technology companies and finance domain certification preparation material. So this is company wide listed here and you can go through this. So let me go through the Microsoft one again. You can see these are all Microsoft related certification. AB 730 exam, if you open it, so you can see here this, and all the practice papers are available here. Today we have a 5 practice paper. So click on the first practice paper. It would load the questions. You can answer this question. This is way you can answer it and you can move to the next question. Now the third material we wanted to highlight is an audiobook. So we started recently with the audiobooks as well, which you can listen on the go, and various technology wise ebooks are available. And at the last, this is our alumni. These people who are subscribing to our courses and this platform, they are all listed here. And at the end, I wanted to tell you, if you find any course or training or certification preparation material which you want to get us prepare for yourself, please put on the comment section. If you're watching on YouTube, on Udemy, or on this platform itself, quicktechie.com, then please put the comment, or you can even send an email to using this contact us options here. You can directly do the WhatsApp message. You can call us on this numbers as well.